They studied you. Not casually, not a quick glance and a judgment. They actually studied you, watched how you moved, watched how you responded, watched what made you react, what made you go quiet, what made you flinch. They took notes. Maybe not literally, but mentally. They were building a file on you. And then they made their move, with confidence, with a whole story already written in their head about how it was going to go, about how you were going to look when they were done, about how small the aftermath was going to make you feel. They were so sure. And then something stopped them cold. Not something you said, not something you did, not retaliation, not drama, not a single word from you. Something they saw standing behind you. And whatever it was, they were not prepared for it. Not even close, because they came here thinking they were dealing with one thing. And they found out mid-move that they were dealing with something else entirely. The plan went back in the drawer. The confidence evaporated. And now they're the one who can't sleep. They're the one replaying every interaction, every decision, every moment they thought they had you figured out. They're the one who's scared. If this reading found you today, stay with me, because I have a lot coming through, and none of it is surface level. Welcome back if you've been here before. Welcome if you're new. Quick note, this channel is not about telling you what feels good to hear. I read what I actually see. I say the uncomfortable thing. I follow the energy wherever it goes, even when it gets strange. If that's the kind of reader you've been looking for, subscribe right now, because what I'm about to get into is not something you want to walk into halfway. Let's go. They came prepared. Here's what I want you to really sit with. This person did not act impulsively. This was not a split-second decision. This was calculated, measured, thought through. They looked at the situation. They looked at you. They assessed what they thought they were dealing with, and they moved. And they were wrong. Not about the details, about you. They thought they had you read. They thought they understood the construction of you, what you're made of, what you'll tolerate, where the soft spots are, what it takes to shake you. They had a model of you in their head, and the model is completely incorrect, because the model is built on the version of you they had access to, the version that was visible, the surface, the parts you let them see. They didn't account for what was underneath. They couldn't see it because you don't advertise it. You don't walk around announcing what you're made of. You don't lead with the things that make you formidable. You just exist quietly, fully, in your own world, and they mistook that quiet for weakness. That was the first mistake. The second mistake was making the move. What they saw. Now, I need to talk about what actually stopped them, because it wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't even karma, in the vague, abstract way people use that word. Something is standing behind you. And I don't just mean spiritually, though that's absolutely part of it. I mean something in the total picture of who you are. That becomes visible when someone actually comes for you, when someone tests you, when someone applies real pressure, expecting you to fold. But you don't fold. And that non-folding, that specific, quiet, unbothered, completely calm non-folding, reveals something. It reveals that you are rooted, somewhere deeper than they can reach. Let me tell you what they actually thought they were dealing with. A puppet. That's it. That's the whole plan. They looked at you and saw someone they could pull strings on, someone they could move with the right pressure, someone who would react exactly the way they needed you to react. On cue, on schedule, according to their fingers. They've done it before, with other people. It worked. So they came to you with the same hands, found the strings, pulled. Nothing moved. And that specific moment of pulling and feeling no resistance, because there were no strings to pull, that is what broke them. Because they didn't just lose a move, they lost the entire framework. The model they use on people doesn't work on you. The toolkit they've spent years refining has no application here. You are not a puppet. You never had strings. And the person who built their whole approach around finding and pulling strings is now standing in front of someone completely unstrung, rooted, calm, unmovable, and they don't have a plan for this. They thought they could control you. They found out you're different, your reaction or the absence of it. Now, let me talk about the thing you did. That broke them completely. You didn't react. And I know that sounds simple, but I need you to understand what that actually communicated. Because not reacting, truly not reacting, not performing calm while panicking internally, actually remaining unbothered, that is one of the loudest things a person can do. It says, you don't have power over me. It says, what you did didn't reach me. It says, I've survived things bigger than you, without a single word. And for someone who needed the reaction, who needed to see impact to confirm the move worked, who needed you to flinch to feel like they had something over you, that silence was devastating. They did the thing, and you just kept going, kept building, kept moving, kept living your life with the same energy you had before they made their move, like it didn't even register as a significant event. Because here's the truth. To you, it probably didn't. Not because you didn't notice. You noticed everything. You clocked every single thing they did. You logged more than you let on. You always have. But it didn't shake your foundation. Because they were never inside your foundation. They had access to the surface. And when they hit the surface and found nothing there to hold on to, nothing to pull, nothing to unravel, they realized the surface was never the actual you. And now they're standing outside, looking at a wall they don't know how to scale. And they're scared of what's on the other side of trying. The obsession. Now cards are showing something different, a kind of obsession. Let me tell you what's happening with this person. Right now. Today. Not generally. Right now. They are used to winning. Not sometimes. Every time. They move. Someone reacts. They push. Someone folds. They write a story about a person. That story becomes the truth everyone believes. That's their whole identity. The one who reads correctly, moves effectively, controls the outcome, and then they encountered you, and the winning just stopped. And that is not just a loss for them. That is a full breakdown of everything they thought they knew. Because they cannot file you away, cannot close the case, cannot write the final line on your chapter, and walk away clean. You stay open. Not because you're doing anything deliberate. You're not chasing them, not provoking them, not even thinking about them. A fraction of how much they're thinking about you. You're just unresolved. And unresolved things destroy someone like them from the inside. Every person they've ever tried to control had a pattern, a place where they eventually cracked. A button that worked when pressed hard enough. They've been pressing yours. Nothing. No crack, no pattern, no button. And the longer they search, the more it unravels them. Because what they're slowly, uncomfortably realizing is that the problem is not their strategy. The problem is you were never designed to be controlled. They came with puppet hands. They found no strings. And now they cannot stop thinking about how that's possible. What they're watching. Now here's the part that's really getting to them. While they've been stuck in that loop, replaying the interactions, trying to figure out what they're dealing with, you've been moving, and they've been watching. That's the part they cannot handle, because they look at your life, and they look at their life, and the comparison is not going in their favor. You started something. It's growing. You made a decision. It landed right. You said something was coming, and then it came. And their life? Scattered, stalled, like they're pushing against something that isn't moving. They used to feel momentum, that natural forward motion that comes when you're on the right path. They had that once. And somewhere around the time they made the move against you, or the time they cut you off, or betrayed you, or underestimated you, it stopped. And they noticed. They won't say it out loud, not to anyone, definitely not to you, but privately, in the moments before they fall asleep, they have connected those two things. Something changed when they came against you. The forward motion slowed. The things that used to work stopped working. The confidence they built their whole personality on started developing cracks they can't explain. And you're over here, looking like everything is opening. Opportunities landing, energy expanding, things moving like the universe cleared the road and put up signs. They watch that every day. And the watching makes it worse because they can see the gap growing, you moving further into your season. Them standing still, trying to figure out what went wrong. They want what you have. And this is where it gets uncomfortable for them. Because somewhere in all that watching, somewhere between the jealousy and the confusion and the replaying, a realization landed. They want what you have, not you specifically, not even your life exactly. They want the thing underneath both of those, the thing that makes your life look the way it looks, the thing that makes you impossible to shake, the thing that makes you move, the way you move, the calm, that specific, unperformable, bone-deep calm that you carry. They've tried to copy it. You might have even seen it, someone mirroring your energy back at you in a way that felt slightly off, like a translation that lost something, like a photocopy of a photocopy. It doesn't land the same. Because what you have is not a technique. It's not a mindset you adopted from a book or a video or watching someone else. It was built slowly, painfully, in seasons where nothing was working and nobody was watching, and you had to decide, quietly and alone, to keep going anyway. That process builds something in a person that cannot be shortcut, and they are looking at the result of that process. And they want it, desperately, but they don't want to do the work. They want the calm without the fire that forged it. They want the protection without the faith that attracted it. They want the direction without the dark season. That made you trust your own compass. And that's not available for purchase. That's not available at all, unless you build it yourself. So they just watch, hoping something rubs off, hoping proximity to your orbit gives them access to something they didn't earn. It won't, but they'll keep watching. Their failed attempts now, something specific. They have tried to reach out to you, not successfully, not in a way you necessarily saw or felt directly, but internally. The decision was made more than once. The message was drafted, the conversation was rehearsed, and then stopped, every single time. And I want to explain why, because it's not what you might think. It's not guilt, though there might be some of that underneath. It's not even fear of rejection exactly. It's fear of your read. They know, on some level they cannot fully articulate, that when they come to you, you are going to see exactly what's underneath the words, exactly what the reaching out is actually about. Whether it's an attempt to manage you, whether it's an attempt to gather information, whether it's genuine, and they don't fully trust their own motives yet. So they draft the message, they read it back, they imagine you reading it, and they see it through your eyes for a second, see the thing underneath the words, and they delete it. Start over. Try again with different language, same problem. Because you cannot rewrite your way out of a bad intention. The words change, but the energy underneath doesn't. And they know you feel energy. They've seen it. You've responded to the thing underneath the words more than once. And they clocked it. And the idea of coming to you with something that isn't completely clean, completely genuine, feels like walking into something they can't control. So they stop. Every time. The almost messages sitting in their drafts folder are the best evidence of how much space you occupy in their head. People don't draft messages they never send to people who don't matter. They draft and delete for the ones who matter too much, their energy in your space. But here's what I need you to hear. Even though they haven't reached you directly, their energy has been sitting in your space. You've felt it. That specific low-frequency thing that happens when someone is holding you in their mind with complicated intentions. That feeling of something slightly off that you couldn't quite name. That sense of being watched without being able to identify who's watching or from where. That was real. Your body was reading something your eyes couldn't confirm. And I want to say something important about that. You have been spending energy managing that field. Not consciously, but the awareness of something in your space, the low-level alertness that keeps running in the background, that costs something. Energy to stay calm, energy to not react, energy to protect the peace you've built. It's not dramatic. It doesn't look like anything from the outside. You're still fully functional, still building, still moving. But underneath, you've been doing extra work. That chapter is closing. The energy is coming back to you, fully. Back to what you're building, back to what actually matters. And the space that person has been occupying in your field, even without your permission, even without your awareness, that space is about to be yours again. Watch what opens up. When it does, what's actually standing behind you. Let me get into this now, because this is the part they couldn't name. The part that stopped them mid-move. The part that had them putting the plan back in the drawer and stepping away from something they were completely confident about 2 minutes earlier. What is actually standing behind you? And I want to answer this carefully, because the easy answer is angels, protection, God, ancient energy. And all of that is true. All of that is present in this reading clearly. But I want to go deeper than that, because the most terrifying thing standing behind you is not external. It's you. The version of you that was built in private, in seasons nobody witnessed, in moments nobody gave you credit for, the decisions you made when nobody was watching, the times you chose to keep going when stopping would have been completely justified, the times you chose integrity when dishonesty would have been easier and nobody would have known. That version of you, that is what they saw. And here's why that's more terrifying than any external force could ever be. External protection can be waited out. External backing can potentially be removed. External support has conditions and circumstances and variables. But who you actually are, that cannot be taken, cannot be removed, cannot be negotiated away or strategized around or outlasted. You are the thing behind you. And you are permanent. The spiritual layer. But let me not skip over the spiritual piece, because it is real and it is specific. There is coverage on your life that predates this situation, long before this person showed up, long before the specific conflict or the specific test. Something was already assigned to you, already in place, already running quietly in the background of your life, like a system you didn't install, but that has been protecting you since before you knew you needed protecting. You've seen evidence of it. The situation that should have destroyed you, that somehow didn't. The person who should have succeeded in what they were trying to do and failed completely. The door that closed and felt like the worst thing, until the better door opened and you realized the closed door was protection, not punishment. That pattern has been running in your life for years. That is not luck. Luck is random. Luck doesn't have a pattern. Luck doesn't consistently redirect attacks back to the people who launched them. Luck doesn't have a track record of making sure that what's meant for you reaches you and what's not meant for you bounces. What you have is not luck. It is assignment. Something decided before you were born, before you had done anything to earn it, that your life was going to matter, that your path was going to have a specific purpose, and that anyone who tried to interrupt that purpose was going to find out in real and specific ways that the interruption was not going to be permitted. This person found that out. Maybe they haven't fully connected the dots yet. Maybe they're still calling it coincidence. But somewhere in them, in the quiet, in the moments they can't distract themselves from, they know. They know they touched something they were not supposed to touch. The direction you've been avoiding. But I want to get honest about something, because I'm feeling resistance in this reading. Not external resistance, internal. There is something you know you're supposed to do that you've been circling without fully committing to. You get close, you take steps toward it, and then something pulls you back into the orbit of what's familiar and safe and manageable. And I understand why. Because the thing you're actually supposed to build, the real version, the full version, it's bigger than what you've been allowing yourself to claim. And big things are terrifying in a way that small things aren't. Small things, if they fail, don't cost much. You can walk away with your identity intact. But the real thing, if you go all in and it doesn't work, that's a different kind of loss. So you've been going partial, giving it 70%, keeping one foot in the safe zone, just in case. And I need you to hear this clearly. The 70% version of you is not going to build the thing that's meant for you. The real version requires all of you, the full commitment, the decision that comes with no backup plan, because the backup plan is where doubt lives, and doubt is expensive in the season. The person watching you from the distance, the one who's terrified, the one who can't stop checking on your life, they are responding to the 70% version of you. Imagine what the full version does to a room. Your gift with words. Now. Something specific is sitting on top of this reading, and I cannot move past it. You have a gift with your words. And I don't mean you're a good communicator. I don't mean you're articulate or well-spoken or good at expressing yourself. I mean something more specific than that. When you speak something, when you really mean it, when you say it from the place underneath all the performance and the politeness and the managed version of yourself, things move. People pay attention in a way they don't pay attention to most people. Situations shift. Things you name start becoming real. You've noticed this. Maybe you haven't had language for it. Maybe you've written it off as coincidence more than once. But you've felt it. That specific thing that happens when you say something and mean it at the cellular level, and then watch it start taking shape in the world. That is not coincidence. That is a gift. A specific, real, powerful gift. That was not given to everyone. And this person, the one who's been watching you, studying you, trying to build a model that explains you, they have felt this gift even when they couldn't name it. They've heard you say something and watched it happen. They've watched you name a direction and then move in it with a certainty that made the direction real just by how you held it. And it doesn't fit in the box they built for you, because the box they built was for someone manageable, someone predictable, someone whose ceiling they could see from where they were standing. And then your words showed them something that has no ceiling they can identify. And now the box is useless. Here's the thing about people who watch you. Some of them are going to try to replicate what they see, the way you carry yourself, the way you move through situations without losing your footing, the specific aesthetic of your piece, the way unbothered looks on you, the way silence sits on you, the way you say no without explanation. And the no lands with full weight. They will try to copy it, and some of them will get close. The surface will look similar, the performance will be convincing, but it won't hold. Because what they're copying is the output, the visible result of something internal they have no access to. Like copying someone's handwriting without understanding the hand that wrote it. Like reproducing a painting without knowing the years of practice. That made the brushstroke possible. The copy exists, but the original is absent from it. And people who are paying real attention can feel the difference. The thing about you that is impossible to replicate is not a technique. It's not a style. It's not a way of speaking or dressing or presenting yourself. It's the knowing, that specific, quiet, unperformable certainty you carry about who you are and where you're going. The thing that doesn't need external validation because it's not sourced from external places. The thing that stays intact when everything around you is uncertain because it's not built on the certainty of circumstances. It's built on you, on what you chose to become in the dark, when nobody was giving you credit for the choosing. That cannot be copied. Not because it's protected from copying, but because it requires a specific kind of inner work that cannot be shortcut, cannot be observed and replicated, has to be lived, has to be earned, through the actual living of it. They haven't lived it, so they watch you instead. And the watching is its own kind of tribute, even when it's uncomfortable, even when their intentions underneath the watching are complicated. The fact that they cannot look away from your life is the clearest evidence of how far you are from where they thought you were. The shift. Something is changing right now, not in a week, not eventually, right now, in the energy around you. The weight that has been sitting in your field, the low frequency residue of this person's attention and the situation's unresolved energy, it is lifting. You might have already felt the beginning of it. A lightness that showed up recently, without obvious cause, a clarity that returned after a foggy period, a sense of direction that feels more solid than it has in a while, like something that was slightly off, has quietly corrected itself. That's the shift, the chapter with this person, their fear, their obsession, their watching. It is moving into the background, not because they stopped, but because you are moving into a season where their energy simply does not have the bandwidth to follow, where what you're building is operating at a frequency that confusion and fear and stalled energy cannot access. They will still watch from further away, with less ability to affect your field. Because you are going somewhere, they don't have the clearance to enter. And the creative work, the thing you're building, the words you're putting into the world, the direction you're moving with full commitment, that is the vehicle. That is what carries you into the frequency they cannot reach. The shift is not something you have to make happen. You just have to keep building. The field clears itself when you're moving in full alignment with your actual purpose. And right now, you are more aligned than you have been in a long time. Keep going.